All right, I think we're officially live, Chad. This is Justin Newby with Washington State Wrestling. I apologize, family, fans, parents, athletes, that we haven't been on podcast for a few months. I think it's been 7 months since our last podcast. We were actually going to be joined today by George Ivanoff out of. He's actually from Iowa. He claims Omaha, Nebraska, but he's from Iowa. But he's going to join us tomorrow. So we're actually going to hit two podcasts this week. But I wanted to take a moment to introduce our newest director of operations. His name is Chad Beatty. He's from Iowa. He wrestled at the University of Iowa. He coached at Forest Grove down there in Portland, Oregon. Just moved to Tacoma. Welcome aboard to Washington State Wrestling, Chad.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate you having me. I've been working here for a few weeks and I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot of great people, coaches and athletes, and I'm really excited.
Well, we're excited. What was that?
I'm excited to be here.
Okay. Well, you started May 15th was your first official day, so we gotta get them out to Riverview National Camp there in Spokane, which is a little bit of a drive. We also got to go check out the Snohomish Sports Commission there in Everett Fairgrounds. We got to kind of tour their facility. They would like to bid on getting our freestyle Greco State tournament there in Monroe. What were your thoughts on that one, Chad?
That venue is so nice. It's like big and airy, and there's a huge space for mats, probably 11 or 12 wrestling mats with room for bleachers, and there's big garage doors that bring in a lot of natural light. There's also space outside for food vendors and things like that, and it's a beautiful venue. It's really, really nice. It's climate controlled, so if they win the bid and if they get to host us next year, I think it'll be a really, really nice venue for our kids.
Well, I'm really excited about the hospitality that we get to host out in the adjacent room. It's a big, I don't know, maybe 4,000 square feet, plenty of room to relax. Gio Inton said he'd bring his smoker and pressure cookers and cook ribs all day for us. Right, Gio? I think you said that. Gio will do it. Everybody put the pressure on him.
I think that sounds really good.
I think Tim Weiner said he would help cook too or something. So
I heard that.
Yeah. So no, we had a good meeting with those guys. We're excited to see what their bid entails as well. Of course, we've been hosting it there at the Sports Hub. Spokane would like to bid on it, but we're still in the process of building this $31 million sports facility. So I'm not quite sure if Spokane's going to put a bid out this year because I don't think it's going to be ready in time. But time will tell. So, Chad, give us a recap real quick. You got indoctrinated with a lot of our coaches there at Riverview. Give us your little takeaways from our national team camp that we had over Memorial Day weekend.
Well, generally, the camp went really, really smooth, and the coaches are extremely knowledgeable. And you can definitely tell that there is so much passion for our kids in Greco, freestyle, and women's divisions. Including schoolboys, our youngest group that was at the camp. They did a fantastic job just making sure that those young athletes were staying engaged every single session. And then the hospitality of the Riverview Bible Camp was unbelievable. They fed our kids 3 times a day. They had fun activities like the zip line and the swimming pool, along with just the beautiful river that goes right next to our training facility. It was just top notch. I was very impressed by everything and how it went. The lodging, all those small cabins kind of gave the kids an opportunity to, really bond with their bunk mates. And it was just a really great experience for those kids, I think.
Yeah.
Us coaches got to sneak away in our cabin every once in a while to hang out and shoot the breeze, and that was also a lot of fun.
Play some cards.
Tried to.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a really good. I had to leave a little early. I had a graduation I had to attend in Utah, but I thought it went really well. I've heard a lot of pretty good feedback from the coaches. I know, obviously with any time you have 150 kids, 200 kids plus, there's always going to be a little issues, but overall, I think this was the best camp I've actually been to as far as kids behaving. Nobody really had anything stolen. I know I had a kid that kind of misplaced some earbuds that came up an athlete came and reported, hey, I found some earbuds in my stuff. And we were able to get those back to that athlete. Originally, I think they thought they were stolen. But other than that, I didn't hear of any theft. I didn't hear of any kids really misbehaving, sneaking out. Obviously, we do room checks as coaches at 10:30 when lights are out. And we typically stay up, like Chad said, we have our cabin right next, and we kind of typically stay up till about 11:30, making sure kids aren't sneaking out and catching them. But we didn't have any issues. Nobody stealing ice cream cones this year like we did last year. Weston Liber. Just kidding. Anyway, well, other than that, some big news that kind of came out that's going to put a wrench in our Fargo training or Fargo participation. Not really a wrench, as long as you guys can stay on top of it. But as you, as coaches and parents know that are involved with USA Wrestling, Congress passed safe sport legislation back in, I think it was February of 2017, basically mandating that any organization affiliated with the Olympic or the Olympic Committee of the United States would have to, take this safe sport training. It's a free course offered on safesport.org. Well, there's one caveat going into effect June 23rd, 2019. That is, if you're 18 years of age, you also have to take safe sport, whether you're a coach, an athlete, an official, regardless, you have to take safe sport. So if you're 18 years old as of today, or you're turning 18 years old within the next month and a half, and you're competing at Fargo Nationals, you will be required to take safe sport prior to actually stepping on the mat and competing at Fargo. I did send an email out to our Fargo participants that are coming. Haven't had too many people question that. It's more or less USA Wrestling, with the climate of our society today, are taking every measure to make sure our number one commodities, which are our athletes, are protected at all costs. So if you are 18 years old, you have an athlete card, please go take safe sport so we don't have to do that when you get to Fargo. We will have some computers in the business office at the Best Western or Wingate where the girls are staying, where you could get in and take it if you don't, but I just recommend getting it done prior to that. So that's a big news that we have. One other one that Chad and I have been working on is our bylaws. You want to talk a little bit about that, Chad, or?
Yeah, it's a big undertaking, and we want to make sure that we align with USA Wrestling as our umbrella organization and nonprofit. So we're diving into it slowly and trying to make sure that we are under compliance with everything that USA Wrestling has for their nonprofit, and also so we can give the kids and the athletes the best experience possible, and make sure that our organization is being proactive and really smart moving forward with a strategic plan. So, and to go along with the safe sport, I think it's a really great opportunity for these young people. We think of 18-year-old kids as kids, but they are transitioning. A lot of them will be going on to college and into adulthood. And this training, it only takes a few hours, and it's some really valuable information that, they can tuck in their hat, and they can make sure that they keep it with them, just being mindful. So it's a good move, I think.
Yep. So we're going to continue to work on those. We're going to hope to have them at the general membership meeting. We'll be sending them out, obviously, probably a month prior, right after Fargo. So everybody will have ample time to kind of go through what we're looking at. But basically, essentially, we took a working document from USA Wrestling's bylaws and taken out the stuff that isn't related to Washington State Wrestling. Currently, our bylaws are such where it's our bylaws and our policy and procedures. So we kind of want to get away from just having our policy and procedures blended with our bylaws. So if we need to make an adjustment due to society or changes in the economy or whatever, we can make the necessary changes that we need to. Our policy and procedures will still be what they've always been. We're just going to try to separate the two documents this season, so we can kind of go and progress the sport as we've continued to grow. I mean, our membership has grown from 8 to over 10,000 members in the last 2.5, 3 years. So good job to Washington State coaches and athletes promoting the sport. One of the big things that we're kicking off right now is with a company called Whirlwind Clean and Green. They're based out of the west side of the state, but a pretty big environmental company. We're kicked off the Try Wrestling campaign. I'm sure most of you guys have seen that on Facebook or soon to be Instagram. It's last athlete we just showcased was a young lady named Hazel, talking about her journey through the sport. But we have about 4 more commercials that we're going to kick off over the next month and a half or so. One of the things that Chad coming on staff, I want Chad, go ahead and talk a little. I know you're a pretty humble guy, so you probably don't want to talk too much about your career in the sport of wrestling, but I think it's important for our organization to know really what you bring to the state. I'm more of a business guy. You're more of a wrestler. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I mean, I thought I had a decent career until I met some of the coaches that I surround myself with. So I don't coach, I direct, and I think I've done a fair job at that. But I think, the takeaways that you had from our national training camp and some of the things that you bring to our organization are going to be pretty key as we go to that next level. So if you don't mind, Chad, I would ask you to take about 2 minutes and just kind of, you grew up in Iowa, wrestled for the University of Iowa, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, me coming on board with WSWA is really because of the work that you and the rest of the board have done in the last few years. And that's what's really exciting to me is this is an organization that believes in growth and is really motivated to continue to grow. And that's exciting. So I really appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, I come from the University of Iowa. I graduated in 2010. I had a lot of really amazing teammates. Notable is like Brent Metcalf and Dan Dennis and Jay Borschel and Ryan Morningstar, those types of guys. And then after my college career, I moved into coaching immediately, and I coached at the high school level for 2 years. We had an amazing team and cohort of kids, and it was under the guidance of myself and the head coach, Mark Ryland, who was a national champ at Iowa a few years prior. And we had some success. And then I moved into college coaching with the late Mike DeRoe as the head coach. And I learned a lot of really valuable lessons and tools and coaching techniques from him. He was a world team and Olympic coach for multiple years through USA Wrestling. And then once I left Cornell, we came out west, and we really loved our experience out here. I've been coaching, like you said at the start of this podcast, at Forest Grove High School, just outside of the Portland metro area for the last 5 years. And, learned a lot more things as the head coach and the logistics and all the things behind the scenes that you really have to deal with as a head coach. And that's led me to this position where I'm now, working with national team coaches, training camps, and all things wrestling all the time. And I really, really love it. So I've been really fortunate growing up around really amazing coaches, and, wrestling is kind of embedded and ingrained into my life ever since I was, a pup. So I'm really fortunate to be out here. And again, just like Justin said, he surrounds himself with great coaches, and that's very evident, coming out here to Washington. There's so many good coaches and athletes. I'm excited to see what we can accomplish.
It'll be a fun journey.
That's right.
We got some good stuff coming up with cadet duels next week in Spokane. Our schoolboys leave on Tuesday to go to Indianapolis. We pray that they have a safe travel and journey out there and a wonderful experience. I know they will. They got some great coaches with Adam Aney, Smokey McClare, and Steve Losey. Those guys have been leading the charge for a couple of years. They've done a great job. Here in Spokane, you got Mike Bundy, Kevin Roberts, John Owens, Brian Owens, Jim Nelson helping lead the charge for our cadet team over here. I know, Chad, you're coming over for that. I'll obviously be here for that as well. Hopefully we can get a national title with these boys. We got a solid team, solid lineup. This would be the year to do it. I'm excited for either winning a title or potentially even having 2 teams All-American. It's going to be an exciting thing. Then we got our junior men and women going down to battle in Tulsa, Oklahoma, June 18th, 17th, 18th. They're going to be departing out of Seattle. And then we'll all be home for about 3 weeks. And then we depart for Fargo June 9th, 10th, 11th, depending on who you are. So it's going to, or July. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So it's going to be a busy summer, a lot of wrestling. We'll be going live on our Facebook page for some of these events. Of course, we have some contract issues where we can't go live for everything because those video rights are owned by Flow Wrestling and or Track Wrestling. So, but stick with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We'll be making live tweets, keeping everybody updated what's going on when we're out traveling. And then of course we go to Croatia. We send a group over to Croatia August 6th. So Travis Ayers is spearheading that, and that's going to be a fun journey. I think we have 13, 14 people going there. We even have a trainer, Josh Peterson out of Centralia, who's been doing our state tournaments. Great guy. He's going with the team as well. His wife gave him permission, and so he's going to go spend 2 weeks in Croatia with Team Washington. So,
man, there's so many good opportunities for these kids. Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun summer. And then, of course, August, the third weekend in August in Ellensburg is our general membership meeting. And please join us tomorrow. George Ivanov is going to be on. He's going to be talking about grit. He came to our Riverview National Camp to promote his product. He did a little bit of coaching while he was here as well. A lot of the athletes were asking where they could buy the product. We weren't selling it at the camp. That wasn't a part of the goal. It was more or less just to let him build a relationship with Team Washington and getting a feel for it. He wrestled for Boise State. He was on the Bulgarian, I think it was Bulgaria, the Olympic team in Rio in 2016. So he'll be joining us on the podcast tomorrow. And Chad will be here as well, but we wanted to try it out. It's been 7 months. We wanted to make sure we get it working. So Washington, thanks again for everything you guys have done. You guys have been truly amazing for my family and for myself. And we look forward to doing more podcasts now that we got somebody else to help carry some of the workload. Those who are complaining on the message board about not getting stuff out soon enough, I apologize. We're busy. We're working. We run an organization with 10,000 people. And sometimes we don't post our list until everybody's paid and everybody's confirmed, which is actually part of the reason why it didn't get posted until yesterday. So again, not to answer all the complaints on the message board, but we do still love you guys. You know, without the complaints, you know, we don't know where to grow and where to put our energies and efforts. So we appreciate everything you guys do. If there's anything we can do, like always, get a hold of me or get a hold of Chad and let us know how we can help. Anything else, Chad?
That's it.
All right. We're signing out. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.